Welcome to a journey of fear and fascination as we explore two terrifying stories in the Eiffel Tower. This iconic landmark, known for its beauty and romance, hides dark secrets within its iron lattice. As we ascend to new heights, prepare to uncover chilling tales of lost souls and eerie encounters that will make you question what lurks in the shadows of this Parisian symbol. Are you ready to face the terror that awaits? Story 1. I had always dreamed of visiting the Eiffel Tower at night, hoping to see the city of lights from its most breathtaking vantage point. The evening air was crisp and the crowd was sparse as I ascended to the top deck. Paris stretched out beneath me, glittering and endless. But as I walked towards the railing, something felt off. A man stood near the edge dressed in outdated clothing, his posture stiff and unnatural. He was staring down at the city, unmoving. At first, I thought he was just admiring the view, but when I got closer, I realized something chilling. His feet weren't touching the ground. I took a step back, my breath hitching. The moment I did, he slowly turned his head toward me. His face was pale, his eyes hollow and empty, and his mouth moved as if whispering something. But there was no sound. The wind howled around us, drowning everything else. My heart pounded as I stumbled away. But then I saw something even worse. His reflection in the glass was missing. I turned and ran, shoving past a couple taking photos. When I looked back, the man was gone. Later that night, I searched for any reports about ghosts at the Eiffel Tower. What I found made my blood run cold. Decades ago, a man had jumped from the very spot where I had seen him. Some say his spirit still lingers, reliving his final moments, waiting for someone to join him. I haven't gone back since, and I never will. Days passed, but I couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed me from the Eiffel Tower. Every time I walked past a reflective surface, a shop window, a car mirror, even my phone screen, I caught glimpses of something behind me, a shadow, a blurred figure, a pale face. At first, I convinced myself it was just paranoia. But then the nightmares started. Every night, I dreamt I was back on the Eiffel Tower's top deck. The city sprawled beneath me, endless and glittering. But something was wrong. The air was too still. The lights flickered strangely, like candle flames about to go out. And then, always, I saw him. The man I had encountered that night. Except now, he wasn't standing at the railing. He was standing behind me. In my dreams, I couldn't move, couldn't scream. He would slowly lean in, his lips parting as if whispering in my ear. But the only sound was the wind howling through the iron beams. One night, the dream changed. This time, I felt his cold breath on my neck, and this time I finally heard him speak. Jump. I woke up gasping for air, my body drenched in sweat. My heart hammered in my chest, but the worst part was yet to come. My phone buzzed, a notification, a new message, from an unknown number. I hesitated before opening it, my hands shaking. It was just one word, jump. I threw my phone across the room. My pulse pounded in my ears. How? How could this be happening? The next day, I decided to do some research. I found old newspaper archives and police reports about suicides at the Eiffel Tower. The man I had seen matched descriptions of someone who had jumped years ago. But then I found something that made my blood run cold. People who had seen him always reported the same thing afterward. The nightmares, the feeling of being followed, and then the message, jump. Some of them had disappeared, vanished without a trace. I haven't gone back to the Eiffel Tower. I haven't told anyone about what I saw, but I know he's still watching. And every night, just before I fall asleep, I feel that cold breath on my neck, waiting. Story 2. It was past midnight when I found myself beneath the Eiffel Tower, its massive iron beams towering over me. The crowd had dwindled, leaving only the occasional late-night wanderer. I was about to head back to my hotel when I heard footsteps behind me. At first, they were slow, deliberate, then they stopped. I turned around. No one was there. A cold shiver ran down my spine, but I brushed it off. Paris was an old city, filled with strange sounds at night. I kept walking, but then I heard it again, this time faster, almost running. My breath hitched as I spun around. Still, nothing. Then out of the corner of my eye, I saw a shadow move. It wasn't cast by the lights. It was something darker, something shifting unnaturally against the ground. I took a cautious step back, my body tensing. The shadow moved again, stretching, growing taller. Then I saw them, two gleaming eyes staring at me from within the darkness. I ran, I sprinted toward the nearest street, my footsteps echoing in the empty space beneath the tower. But no matter how fast I moved, I could still hear it behind me, those heavy, inhuman footsteps closing in. When I finally reached a busy street, I dared to look back. The shadow was gone. I tried to tell myself it was my imagination, just a trick of the lights. But even now, when I close my eyes, I can still see those eyes in the darkness, waiting for me to come back. I barely slept after that night. The image of that inhuman shadow stretching beneath the Eiffel Tower was burned into my mind. But what haunted me most was the whisper, that low, rasping voice that had murmured my name. I tried to forget. I told myself it was a trick of the light, an overactive imagination. But deep down, I knew better. A few nights later, I woke up to a strange sound, scraping. It was faint, almost rhythmic, coming from just outside my window. My apartment was on the 3rd floor. There was no balcony, no ledge where anyone could stand. Heart pounding, I crept toward the window and pulled back the curtain. At first, I saw nothing, just the dim glow of the Paris streets below. But then, movement. A long, black shape slid away from my building, retreating into the darkness of an alley. I barely caught a glimpse before it disappeared, but I knew what I had seen. The shadow from the tower, it had followed me home. The descent into madness. After that night, my life became a waking nightmare. Everywhere I went, I saw it. Not fully, never fully, but in the corner of my vision, lurking in reflections, slipping between streetlights as I walked home. It was always there, watching. One evening, I was walking near the Seine when I noticed something disturbing. The streetlights around me flickered and dimmed one by one as if something was passing beneath them. I turned. At the end of the street, just beyond the reach of the light, the shadow stood, long, stretched, its form shifting unnaturally as if struggling to hold a shape. It had no face, but I felt it staring at me. And then it moved. It didn't walk. It glided toward me, the air growing thick and heavy. My breath caught in my throat. My body screamed at me to run, but I couldn't move. Then it spoke. Come back. The voice wasn't loud. It didn't need to be. It slithered into my ears, into my skull, wrapping around my thoughts like chains. Come back. Suddenly I understood. The shadow belonged to the tower. It was part of it, and now it wanted me to return. I ran. The final warning, I left Paris the next morning, booked the first train out and didn't look back. But even now I don't feel safe. Some nights, I wake up to the sound of scraping outside my window. Sometimes I find the lights flickering when I walk down the street. And sometimes, just for a second, I see it. A shadow. Stretching, shifting, waiting. I know what it wants. It wants me to go back. But if I do, I won't leave again. Thank you for joining us on this spine-tingling adventure through the Eiffel Tower. We hope these 2 terrifying stories have left you with a sense of unease and curiosity about the hidden histories of this beloved monument. If you enjoyed these tales, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Until next time, keep your lights on and your heart brave, for you never know what might be watching from the shadows.